When we think of cavemen, we often picture big, hairy men grunting in animal skins, carrying clubs, dragging things around, and chasing mammoths across frozen landscapes. But what if that image isn't entirely accurate? Ditch the cartoons and all those tired. Let's get real and creative. The real lives of early humans were far more complex and surprisingly relatable. They weren't just hunters. They were firekeepers, toolmakers, travelers, caregivers, and yes, sometimes even fierce arguers. So what did a typical day in the Stone Age actually look like? From sunrise to sunset, what did cavemen really spend their time doing? Let's turn back the clock thousands of years and explore what early humans actually did all day. Number 10. Hunting mammoth. The most common image that comes to mind when we think of cavemen is that they were all big, hairy and muscular men who spent all their time hunting mammoths, and this isn't entirely untrue. After all, scientists have found stone tools and weapons near mammoth bones from as far back as 2 million years ago. But if these early humans were able to hunt mammoths, which would have been extremely difficult even with modern technology, then what were the weapons like? How did these primitive people manage to take down such massive animals? Surprisingly, the answer is that they didn't. They didn't hunt adult mammoths. The truth is that the majority of evidence shows that early humans only hunted baby mammoths or sick and injured adults. This is because there wasn't much meat on an adult mammoth, and it would have been very hard to kill one. Plus, early humans weren't stupid. They knew that taking on an adult mammoth was a losing battle, so they waited until they could feast without getting stomped to death. 9. Using fire. If you've ever tried sitting around a fire on a cool night, then you know how nice and comforting it can be. Well, cavemen probably loved sitting by fires just as much as we do today, but for a completely different reason. For our primitive ancestors, a fire wasn't just a way to stay warm, it was a way to cook food. Being able to cook food made a huge difference in the development of early humans. Before fire was invented, meat had to be eaten raw, which could make a person very sick. But cooked meat is easier to digest and kills off harmful bacteria. When our ancestors first started cooking meat over a fire, it not only made life more enjoyable, but extended their lifespan. The oldest evidence of controlled fire has been found in Africa, where a group of hominids kept a fire burning for at least 1 million years ago. But it's possible that the use of fire actually stretches back to million years, all the way to the time when Homo erectus walked the earth. Number 8. Making clothes. Early humans would have needed some form of clothing. I mean, unless they were living in the exact same climate we live in today, then it wouldn't have been easy being naked in the Ice Age. But unlike what you might have seen in Flintstones cartoons, early human clothing wasn't made out of animal skins. There's no evidence that early humans used animal hides or woolly mammoth fur to cover themselves. Instead, it appears that they wore clothes made from plants. Scientists have discovered that early humans used bark, leaves, and fruits to make a type of loincloth. These early humans would have gathered a bunch of plants, then pounded them into a pulp until the fibers separated. Then they would have dried out the fibers and stitched them together using sharp stones or animal bones. These loincloths likely wouldn't have provided much warmth, but they would have protected early humans from the sun and maybe even shielded them from insects. 7. Living in groups. It is widely believed that the reason humans are now the dominant species on Earth is because we have bigger brains than other animals. But what many people don't realize is that we also live in groups. In the animal kingdom, it's rare for a species to live in groups, especially for so long. Humans are one of the few species that live communally, and have done so for hundreds of thousands of years. Some people may see this as a good thing and others may see it as a bad thing, but there's no denying that it helped our species survive. Early humans lived in small groups consisting of about 30 members. The biggest advantage of living in a community is that it takes a village to raise a child. Everyone looks after everyone else's kids, meaning that parents can go off and forage or hunt without having to worry about whether or not their kid was going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. 6. Scavenging. We tend to think of early humans as being great hunters, but the truth is that they spent more time scavenging for food than hunting it. And that makes sense considering that hunting is a lot of work. You have to track down an animal, then try to kill it. But if you find a dead animal, dinner is already served. This is why most of the time early humans didn't hunt young or healthy animals. They were smart enough to know that those animals were too quick and strong for them to catch. Instead, they went after the weak or elderly animals that couldn't run away, as well as dead animals that had been killed by predators or died of natural causes. Most of the time, early humans probably followed packs of wolves or spotted hyenas, because they knew the scavengers would kill large prey and leave the leftovers for them. Number 5. Fighting other humans. If you've ever played a game of capture the flag or been in a schoolyard brawl, then you already know that humans can be pretty aggressive. Unfortunately, this hasn't changed much over the years. In fact, scientists believe that fighting other humans was a regular occurrence for our primitive ancestors. There's lots of evidence that early humans regularly got into violent scuffles with other early humans. One of the most shocking discoveries came from a site in Israel called Ain Mara. Here, archaeologists uncovered the remains of early humans who had been beaten, stabbed, and burned alive by another group of early humans. This was shocking because it is one of the earliest examples of humans killing other humans for reasons unknown. For wandering, early humans were constantly on the move. This means that they probably spent a lot of time wandering around with no real destination in mind. There are several reasons why early humans were always traveling. One of the main reasons was that they had to follow the food. When the berries stopped growing in one area, they had to pack up and move. Or when the herds of animals migrated, early humans had to follow along. Another reason why early humans wandered was because they had to escape the cold. During the Ice Age, temperatures dropped dramatically, forcing early humans to travel south in search of warmer climates. Scientists say that the Neanderthals, an early species of human, traveled between 300 and 400 miles every single year. That's roughly the same distance that some species of birds travel each year during migration. Number 3. Foraging. Foraging was an important part of the daily routine for early humans. Even though they hunted and scavenged for food, early humans still had to fill their stomachs with berries, nuts, and fruits. This is why you'll often hear the term foraging when you hear about primitive tribes that still exist in remote parts of the world today. They spend most of their days searching for wild plants to eat. Foraging would have been easy for early humans. Since the earth was covered in plants during the Ice Age, they could simply walk through a forest and pick low-hanging fruits. However, they would have had to travel to less populated areas to find the best foraging grounds. This is yet another reason why early humans were constantly on the move. Note 2. Taking care of their teeth. You should brush your teeth twice a day and floss once a day. That's what you've been told your whole life. But did you know that this has only been true for the last 100 years or so? Toothpaste and toothbrushes were invented a relatively short time ago. So what did early humans do to take care of their teeth? Believe it or not, they used a twig as a toothbrush. Just imagine the commercials. Are your teeth hurting you? Are you tired of eating soft foods? Then chew on a twig for 2 minutes and watch all your dental problems vanish. Okay, so maybe it doesn't work quite that well, but early humans did use twigs to clean their teeth. In addition to using twigs as toothbrushes, early humans also ground certain rocks into a powder. They would mix this powder with water and use it as a toothpaste. Number 1. Arguing with their partner. This may shock you, but scientists say that early humans spent a lot of time arguing with their partner. It seems that even in the Stone Age, relationships were complicated. Researchers analyzed the skulls of several ancient hominids and found that the most common injury was to the face. It's believed that during the Stone Age, fights between lovers were common. There wasn't much to do back then, so if you had a bone to pick with your partner, you picked it. Sometimes these arguments would get so heated that someone would pull out a rock and smash it into the other person's face. This is why so many ancient skulls have holes in them. Surprisingly, the injuries were pretty evenly split between males and females, so it seems that both men and women threw some serious haymakers. Thanks for watching. What did you find most surprising about what cavemen did all day? Let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.